Now I do love duck, and there's some restaurants that are serving some beautiful duck these days. Flower Drum, of course, is very famous for its Cantonese crispy skinned duck. And there's another restaurant called Mon Ami that specialises in, which is a little restaurant in, I think it's Fitzroy, Nicholson Street in Melbourne. And it does some beautiful duck. But anyway, I'm trying to see what I can do today. See if I can get close to Mon Ami's version. John's a very good chef. He really is. It's a tiny little restaurant. It's been there for 21 years. And it's just the husband, John and Ula, run it. So you get very personal service. And it's terrific. It was a great favourite of my dear mate, Ziggy Jurgensen, who sadly is no longer with us, but he used to go at least once a week. I wonder if he had duck every time. They do have other things, but duck is certainly their speciality. Right, so what I've just done, because I was too busy bloody talking, wasn't I? I've just scored the top of these duck breasts, and don't cut the meat, you just cut the skin, and then we put them into a lightly oiled pan, one that can go into the oven, please, and just pick it up after you put it in, just to make sure that it doesn't stick. And then what we do is we stick another pan on top of it, if we can, just to weight it down, like you do when you do crispy skinned fish, just to make sure that the skin is in contact with the hot pan. So just hang on to it. Don't stand here for 3 hours, but we do that for a few minutes. All right, that's looking good. And we'll just turn it over for a minute or two, and then we're going to throw it into the oven, 180 degree oven, for about 5 or 6 minutes until it's cooked through. I mean, the reason that you're crisping the skin is not just to give a nice skin, is you want to cook off some of that fat, because there's always that layer of fat just underneath it. So, very carefully put this into the oven. Let's think about the sauce. So what we've got is just another pot on there, to which we're going to add a good dollop of butter. And I've got 1 shallot and a good knob of ginger, which I've just sliced. I've sliced the ginger sort of into a julienne, I would say. And then we just saute that, just very, very briefly. Right, at about 100 mils of dry sherry. And of course you then reduce that quite heavily. A little bit of 5-spice powder here that I will add. Now if you like, and this is up to you, you can do a mixture of 5-spice, soy and honey on the duck at the beginning. But you don't have to. I quite like just adding it to the sauce, don't I? So I'm adding that in. And once that has reduced a bit, I will then add the soy and the chicken stock. All right. Just have a look there. You can see that it's reduced quite heavily. So now add a decent slurp of soy, a cup or so of chicken stock, and a good tablespoon of honey. And then we'll just reduce that. So we want a glaze, I suppose. Yes, sort of a glaze. So our 6 minutes are up. Let's have a look at the duck. Looks good, but yeah, it's still a bit under. It's a nice plump breast, or they both are nice plump breasts. So it needs a little bit more. I think I'll leave it in for a minute or two. How are we going underneath? Yeah, no, that's nice and crisp too. Yeah, looking good. And what I then do is allow that to rest. Just cover it in some foil. Don't cover it tightly, just cover it loosely in some foil and allow it to rest, which will mean that it'll be more tender. Asparagus, beautiful at this time of the year, and will go really nicely with this. And just note, I've peeled it, just with one of those peelers, and I've peeled it, which means because they're really thick, it'll be very tender. You don't have to bother peeling it if it's those thin ones, which I don't like much, but anyway. So in plenty of boiling salted water, we'll throw that. and we'll start having a look at our sauce. And one other thing I will add to the sauce is a good squeeze of lime or lemon, and we'll have a taste. See how I'm going. Well, that's nice. Yes, that's nice. Fortunately, I didn't add any salt because soy is obviously a little bit salty because that's got tons of salt. All right, we're looking good, we really are. The kitchen smells beautiful, really does. That sauce is good. Only one breast, by the way, guys. I'm not kidding. I'm not that greedy. You can slice it if you like, or you can just put it like that, which I like the idea of. So I've just got some roasted chats, which are nice, or some kipflers or anything like that. Any baby potatoes are nice. I've just roasted those in olive oil with a bit of seasoning. If you have some duck fat, even better. Let's just pull out the asparagus. All right, guys, I reckon I'm doing rather well today. It looks almost restaurant-y, doesn't it? And to go with that, now the classic thing to go with duck is Pinot. So I've got a Pinot from Marlborough Sounds in New Zealand, which will be light and fresh, as all their Pinots are. And we will serve that with that. And I reckon I've actually done myself proud. Guys, to show your support for my channel and to keep in the loop, subscribe. It's easy to do, and don't forget, it's free. Okay, cheers.